Hey everybody, it's me, David Brown, with DBI here for this week's Wednesday tip. And I'm sure as I record this, the majority of us who can work from home across this country are working from home, which is the right thing to do. We need to social distance, and we need to take this time to distance ourselves from just about everybody to get through this pandemic. What I want to talk about in not only just this tip, but the next two as well, is managing people from afar. I think that there's a lot of ways that we can motivate ourselves, and there's a lot of articles out there about how to be motivated working from home and stay connected, but there's not many that talk about how you can effectively manage people when they're working at a distance. Now, I've collected a few of these tips and tricks, not only from what I've been doing as I've managed my staff virtually for the past 2 years, but I've also been hearing from some leadership in Sanford Rose and Associates, which is an association of recruiting agencies that I'm a part of, sharing their tips and tricks as well. So what I wanted to do is over the next 3 weeks, talk about kind of the big main buckets I feel are important when you're managing people from afar. And then I want to go into one specifically, which I think lays the foundation for the other two. Now, when you are leading from afar, leading virtually, I think there are 3 things that need to be considered very broadly. 1 is management. 2 is the communication with your people. And 3, the last thing is about self. How do you maintain yourself? How do you take care of yourself? How do you motivate yourself when your job became just a little bit more challenging with the virtual divide? That's for the last installment. What I want to talk about now is really just a broad overview of what I think is key to manage people who don't come into an office every day, managing virtual people. I think the first thing you've got to do is determine what you're measuring and establish how you're going to report on those measurements. Now, this could be anything. It's probably very unique to your firm, to your organization, but what are those big things that your team and then the individuals on your team need to do daily, weekly, and then what is the expectation of your follow-up and their expectation of success and maybe exceeding that success as they're working virtually. Define that out, work with individuals, work with your team to find out what's going to be important. Don't try to make it exactly like it is when you're working in an office, because it's not going to be. This is a time to really establish what's important for you and your team during this crunch time, and then let them know, set their expectations on how you're going to measure and reply back to them on their success or their opportunities for improvement. I think the second thing, and this is hopefully something you're already doing, if not, schedule daily meetings with your people or your team. Make sure that you're touching base at the beginning of the day, establishing what you're going to do, helping them through the ambiguity of working from home, and then at the end of the day, do a quick check-in. How did it go? What were you successful at? What did you find to be an issue? And help your people work through that. Now, over time, longevity, do you need to meet daily? No, but we're in a crunch time. We're in a unique time here. So make sure that you're touching base twice daily. 1, to set the expectations for the next 8 to 9 hours. And then the second meeting is to follow up on how they did against those expectations. The other thing that I will share, and this is an interesting thing and may not work for your firm, depending how busy you are, but I have found that creating never-ending projects allows an employee or a team to divert into energy and productivity when there's ambiguity around what they're supposed to be doing. Instead of working from home, I'll just kind of start catching up on Netflix here at 4. I'll cut out a little early because my work that was scheduled is done. I think if you've got never-ending projects that you have, clean up the database, create families in Revit, whatever it might be, something that always can fill the time and keep someone motivated and engaged when they're working from home is key. Now, these Forever projects will vary from your firm to my firm to any firm, but just think of what they are. They're not critical, but they are nice to get done. And make sure that everybody on your team and each individual knows what that never-ending project is and how they can contribute to it. Pretty simple, pretty broad. Again, I think you've got to blur your eyes a little bit when working virtually, at least to begin with. And if it is temporary, really hone in on what's going to be important, keep it simple, and communicate. And that's it for today. Hope you found these tips helpful for you. If you've got tips that you're using that you found successful, or maybe those that didn't work, please share them below. I think everybody would really like to hear about them. That's all for today. Have a great Wednesday and best of luck.